everybody. Welcome back to another Dice Tower video. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
Today we're doing a Catchupalooza on Arkham Horror, the card game. This is a living card game, a cooperative game, in which you are going to be, of course, taking some of the characters from the Arkham Horror universe, the mythos, and taking them up against various stories, various scenarios that you are trying to succeed through. You can play them as one-offs, or you can link them together in a campaign. Now, in this box, which is the core box, the original core box, there's a newer printing of this. There's only 3 stories in here. But what I taught these guys, and what we played the entirety of, is the first cycle, so the sort of the first expansion to this. That is many chapters. It's, I think, 8 chapters linked together, and you level up throughout them, and you might succeed at some, fail at some, but you move on anyway. Sometimes with boons, sometimes you have some burdens you have to carry through. So yeah, that's what we did, and I'm a big fan of the game already. I've played a decent amount of it. Really like it, one of my favorite games. And we're going to discuss what you guys got out of it, what you thought, flavor-wise, mechanically speaking, the stories that are contained within that first cycle. So yeah, let's talk first and foremost about that campaign is sort of a big part of what makes this game what it is. Like I said, you can play a one-off, but they're really designed to be linked together. In fact, if you want to play a one-off that's later in a cycle, they're like, well, give yourself some things so that we can sort of we'll bring you to where you should be, kind of, make this easier, change the contents of the bag, that sort of thing. So what did you guys think of the story of that first cycle?
I really enjoyed the story. So I think going into this, I was a little bit hesitant because I played Marvel Champions going into this, and that's the only one of these 3, we'll say. And I like how one-off that is. You know how you can pick up a deck, it's pre-built, it's just so easy and accessible. And so I was a little bit nervous about that here. I was like, what I love about Marvel Champions is you have that feel, and it's so streamlined, it's such smooth play. This being an older one, is it still going to have that, and does that story bring or take away from it? And I really thought that it enhanced the play. That campaign and that level up system as you go through is just as exciting as the turn structure, like when you're actually playing. So the flavor you get beforehand and the flavor afterward with the level up system is kind of what encompasses a campaign to me. I think it's just as exciting as the in-game decisions and stuff, mechanisms.
I know that I'm a very mechanical player. Like, I really like the mechanisms of this game. I'm not a huge collectible or living card game kind of person, but I agree that the story is a nice cohesive element that makes each session something that I look forward to. I don't know if I would say that like the in-between stuff was as fun, but that's because I found the in-game stuff to be really fun. A lot of great combos and stuff. But I think that the narrative structure helps. We had a weekly scheduled game night where we said we're going to play the next session, and the night before I'd then go to bed and be like, ooh, oh, okay, this is so what's coming up next, and I liked that feeling. I really like this as an arc, and this is coming from someone who is in the middle of multiple campaign games, and sometimes there's a little bit of that dread of like, I want to get through it, but this is one that I probably looked forward to the most, continuing to play, because the story's solid, because the upgrades are solid, and the game's great.
And I think you did bring up a good point there that we played it pretty consecutively, like back to back. The one time that we did have to take a break just because of conventions and that kind of stuff, it was a couple weeks. We had to pull out all the other campaigns. Be like, okay, what happened? Hold on, let's review, and take a session to catch you up, because I think that one shows how important, integral the story and campaign nature is to the enjoyment, of this. Because it is like, wait, why do I have this person? Who is this? Did we kill him? Did you save him? But because you also add that to your deck, obviously you didn't kill them if they're in your deck, but because they're added to your deck,
dragging his corpse around. The professor would have some words with you.
Not today. Okay, never mind. You don't need sound effects. But yeah, I think that really shows how important that is. And to catch it up is like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. Oh, I had that person in my deck. It kind of brought that excitement back. So all that to say, I think that's important to note that we did play it back to back, and when we did want to review that story and kind of need to also.
We did, right? When we had a big break, a couple of weeks, we just briefly went over, like, this is what happened in these other stories. That's where you earned this character into your deck, right? And that kind of brings it all back pretty quickly. And there is that. You were talking about the in-between not being as excited as the end-game stuff, but as the campaign went on, you would get excited about, because you've now tested or played this character, and you'd see a new card and go, I see how this fits in mechanically.
Yeah.
But then you can also get excited about the card. They're like, ooh, my librarian can now have this tome that is particularly powerful, or has leveled up a tome that is going to do something I wasn't expecting, right? I mean, you had a card that that let one of the players draw some cards and then possibly play one at a discount.
Oh yeah,
And that was like a fantastic card, right?
Oh, it's so good, yeah.
Yeah.
And then comboing those things with a unique character to you, it was fun to be able to say things like, "Oh, I've got this really powerful card, and it's a free action because this is my character." I like that. I like the possibilities that a game like this allows because of the card game form factor. I think that was one of my few apprehensions going into the game. I knew you were a big fan of it. I played Marvel Champions like once, and combo this card to do this to get 3 milk coins, to spend those 7 to draw 4 bonus cards, and then discard 3 to pay for 1. That's fun, but it's not typically my style of game per se. But I enjoy the other things in the Arkham horror files. I played a lot of Eldritch Horror when I was getting into the hobby, and Mansions of Madness and Elder Sign. Those are some great games. But I was curious what this card form factor was going to feel limiting versus allow for great things. And I think that I didn't feel limited. I felt like instead I had that excitement of, I'm going to level up this card, have something more unique that differentiates my character even more from your two, that I can kind of combo these things together, and very cooperative.
Yes.
I love when cooperative games allow you to cooperate. We're not just, I take my turn, we're closer to the goal, but doing things like that. Hey, who needs a card draw right now?
Right.
Who needs some extra supplies I could throw your way? What if I do this and take the monster off of you, and then you could do a huge attack on it without the risk of damaging me because of our bonus abilities?
Right.
I thought the card form factor works really well for the game.
Yeah. I've always thought this game kind of felt like a board game anyway, where the board is sort of made up by those cards, and it allows you to have each scenario feel like a board because of the arrangement of the cards, which ones are connected to which other ones. You can have location reveals. Oh, I didn't know that from this passageway I would reveal this creepy room, or I could then turn left over here and go to this other place. And everything that they do from scenario to scenario, and again, this is something that I think sort of grew on you guys as you saw where it kept going. You can have the cards represent locations in a town. And then on the next scenario, they are cars in a train.
Right.
And it's like, hold on, okay, so this is like a different board, so to speak. I think the cards and the ability, the sort of design space they've created there really allows for a board game feel.
Right. Yeah. As well as it maintains like a high level of modularity, because you might have to start the scenario with pull these 4 locations, shuffle them randomly, and put 3 out.
Yeah.
The other one goes back to the box. And so you have that space there where you truly don't know what's out there, and how it's going to connect. And that is one potential drawback, not potential, but one drawback to me is the symbol. I think it's very smart that, the symbols on the top are that location symbol, the symbols on the bottom are where you can go to. But there are times somewhere, wait, this can go, wait, here, no, not there, here, and so luckily you had those tokens. I know they're not in the base game, but the tokens that we could kind of map it out visually.
Little arrows that you can get as an aftermarket thing.
Right, and that was really, really helpful, and I think, for me at least, just for that quick glance of where I can go, how many turns got it, that was kind of necessary, because that is a little bit, not tricky. I mean, it's a smart structure, but does take that moment to kind of, you have to review that multiple times, which again, allows the board to be a bit modular like that, but it does kind of muddy that part up a little bit for me.
Yeah.
It does a great thing where it's kind of like the fog of war in a video game, where you don't know where the edge of the map is, which you can't do in a board game as easily without tile overlays and board extensions, or 7,000 Gloomhaven dungeon tiles, and you all of those things that really slow down a game. Okay, find tile 1074B in the stack. Right. This one allows that, but I think my favorite part, and I don't want to talk too specifics, but as the scenarios go on, I think that those map layouts become more intricate. Some of them become intentionally disorienting,
right?
Which thematically goes in with the story. Mm-hmm. It's really impressive what they can do. So in some ways, yeah, you have to sit there and go, okay, this one could go here and here. So okay, let's rearrange these.
Right. Or that. Again, not to spoil too much, but oh no, that's no longer an option.
That room exploded.
Oh well, yeah, exactly. Something happens, and and so it's constantly a rearranging board as well, not just in the setup, but even through the gameplay, which is interesting.
All right, well, the way we do it here on Catchupalooza is we'll give you a buy it, bring it, bury it breakdown, and I'll start because I'm the one who knows the game. And you might think I'm going to just jump right into it, buy it, but I'm actually not going to do that. This game I think, has the potential to be very divisive. This is not an easily digestible experience. It's a game that shines in campaign, and thankfully now, by the way, if you get into the game now, the core box will be different, and the campaigns now come in a single box. Much better delivery system than the previous one pack a month way to do it. So there is that. That got a nice boost in just, again, accessibility. But I think the game is not going to appeal necessarily to everyone. This is not one that I would say, oh, just jump right into this and buy it, you'll like it. This is a bring it for me. With the possibility of a buy it and you'll love it kind of, backup to that. Because there's a lot. This is not a light game. This is a long session game, campaign. It requires of you that you internalize a lot of ideas, mechanisms, keywords, that you develop an affinity for whatever character you picked, that you level them up. There's a lot there. So, yeah, if you're not someone that is necessarily going to, be into those things or have played one of the other living card games, I would try it out first. So that's kind of where I'm at. For me personally, I love it. I think it's a fantastic game. But I also know this is not going to be for everybody kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to be right there with you. What I rate this at in our little scale here is a bring it. I want you to continue to bring it because I've had a lot of fun with it. I love the fact that you are invested enough in it that you know those persnickety rules and how to... Okay, in this case, I know that there's a free action phase in between each player's actions, so yes, that card does this now. I'm really glad that you know those things because I tried to learn this one time. I pulled it out, I started trying to assemble the cards to make a first deck, reading the book and everything, and then I buried it. I put it away for years, literal years, and then when you said, hey, we're playing a campaign, would you be interested in joining? I said, yeah, let's try that. But now I'm really hooked. This might be my favorite of the Arkham Files games because of how good the card play and the story and the cohesive experience that we had with it all. I think that's great. I'm still even now on the fence about buying my own copy and playing this at home with Wendy because of the commitment and the involvement and taking that upon myself, that mantle of, okay, I'm going to be the rules master. I'm still a little bit hesitant about that, but for sure this is one of the highest bring it recommendations I can give.
Bring it, please.
Bring it, please.
Got it.
That's like bring it plus. That's our rating system here.
Got it.
We went from a 3-point scale to a 7-point scale. Great.
Awesome. I think going into this, the first couple plays, that kind of stuff would definitely be a bring it. But having finished the campaign, thinking back on my deck, thinking back on the different choices I would make, wanting to look through the deck and the different artwork and that kind of stuff has definitely bumped it up to that buy it for me. I hear what you're saying about it being that heavy overload, but now it's like for me to rate it right now where it stands, because you did share that burden, ease that burden for us. Then definitely it's in that buy it now where it's like this is a game that if I'm going to take out and look at the cards and just think about building the deck, and it's just I'm excited to this deck that I had Roland Banks. I really see my flaws in how I backed myself in kind of one specialty as I went through. It's like, okay, next time I want to do this and maybe try this with a different character, and I get excited about that. I get excited about seeing what all the different packs have and the new cards and building it, playing through a campaign and be like, oh, whoops, that worked awesome, and fiddling with it. So taking that overhead out of the equation, which it now is, it's definitely a buy it for me. I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. And as you mentioned, with the new form factor, the other thing is, the reason that I was put off by it for so long was the idea, buy this box, 3 scenarios, buy a monthly subscription. Yes. I'm out, right? But with this idea of you can buy a single box, bunch of characters, buy a single box, a whole campaign.
Yeah.
This edges it really close to that buy-it line for me.
Yeah, and the new core box, which will not look like this, will be the revised core box, contains everything that's in here, and more character cards for deck building. So you have more options now. Before they would include some cards in here would only be have a single copy in the deck, and so people who were really into it would actually buy multiple cores just to have a full play set.
And that's the type of stuff I'm like, not burying.
Right. So now I think the game really has leveled up with the new core box, and again the new way the campaigns are put out. So there you go. That is Arkham Horror, the card game, the living card game. That's going to do it for us, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
We will see you on the next one. Take care. Is this me?
Yeah, dude, you want to...
Oh.